We have more breaking news coming into the Situation Room right now. The United States, the Trump administration has paused intelligence support to Ukraine following last week's Oval Office clash between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump. All that according to the CIA Director John Radcliffe, who clarified the move earlier today. Listen to this.
President Trump said is he asked for a pause. In this case, as everyone saw play out, President Trump had a real question about whether President Zelensky was committed to the peace process. And he said, let's pause. I want to give you a chance to think about that.
All right, joining us now, CNN's senior military analyst, retired Admiral James Stavridis. He's a former NATO Supreme Allied Commander. He's also a partner at the Carlyle Group, a global investment firm. Admiral, thank you so much for joining us. First, let me get your reaction to this announcement that the U.S. is stopping, at least for now, intelligence sharing with Ukraine.
You know, we used to talk about maximum pressure campaign on Iran. What I'm starting to feel like is we want to put maximum pressure on an ally, a partner, a friend, and that would be Ukraine. So I, for one, do not believe this is going to contribute to getting this deal back together again, but it's certainly of a piece with pausing the arms shipments. I would say militarily, Wolf, this is as critical because this intelligence is what was enabling the Ukrainians to launch strikes inside Russia as well as against Russians who were about to attack them as they were approaching Ukraine. This is going to cost Ukrainians lives. And I hope we quickly come off the pause, both on this intelligence sharing and on the actual weapon systems.
It could have a huge impact if the U.S. intelligence community, for example, learned that Russia was about to attack civilian targets in a Ukrainian city, killing a whole bunch of Ukrainian civilians. Wouldn't the U.S. have to inform the Ukraine military about that possibility in advance if the U.S. had that kind of intelligence?
Well, I certainly hope we would apply that standard. We have a global standard of whenever we know a terrorist attack is coming, even if it is in a country with whom we are not aligned, we provide that information. I think that is of a piece with this, and I certainly hope the CIA, and it would be worth pressing Director Ratcliffe on that point, would, in that particular instance, absolutely provide that kind of intelligence.
You know, it was interesting because the CIA Director Radcliffe also seemed to indicate this pause could be short-lived following a letter that President Trump says he received from President Zelensky. Here's the president describing that letter, revealing the letter during his address to Congress last night.
The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians, he said.
Do you think this pause was a strategy to get Ukraine to the negotiating table?
Certainly that's what the president has said. That's what the vice president has said. I take them at their word on that. We're going to know in a matter of days because, as President Trump just said, the letter from President Zelensky also said the incident in the White House was regrettable. I think that's pretty close to an apology. I think, secondly, he committed to peace, which is exactly what President Trump, Vice President Vance, and Director Ratcliffe have all talked about. So I took that as a positive that it was mentioned in that light during the president's speech. And I think over the next couple of days, we'll discover whether it's sufficient to kind of get this deal back on track, which I believe at this point is a good deal for the Ukrainians. Sign the mineral deal, keep the weapons flowing, get to a negotiating table. That's a pretty good approach.
Retired Admiral James Stavridis, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Wolf. Congrats on the new show.
Thank you.